It is almost 7 o'clock, so I'm going to wait just a minute or so. I don't want to take too much of your time. Let's see. We're going to stop that. Let me move that down just a little bit so I can see it. And I will start that in just a moment. I'm so excited! Yay! This is the first live segment of Time for Tea with Armory. And so this is not where you come and get the latest gossip. This is not that type of tea, but we are having tea time together, girlfriends. This is our time. And so let me introduce myself. I am Armory, your ambassador of hope. And I am so excited for this first segment of Time for Tea with Armory. I just could not wait for this day to get here. So I do want to be respectful of your time. And so I'm going to start my timer. And so again, I want to be respectful of your time, but I know once I get going, sometimes I can just talk and talk and talk because I love this type of thing. And so I want to make sure I hold myself accountable as well. So I am Armory, your ambassador of hope. And so what does that mean? To be an ambassador means to be a carrier. It means to be a representative of. And so what I like to say is that where I go, I bring hope along with me. My life's goal is to spread hope, to inspire hope in other people, specifically women. And so, again, I am Armory, your ambassador of hope. And so, a little bit about what I do, and thank you for those of you who are joining in. As you're coming in, I would ask that you please share this with other people. Please comment. Please let me know who you are so that I can acknowledge you. Thank you so much for being here with me. And so, again, if you're just coming in, this is Time for Tea with Armory, and this is our first week. This segment, this live segment, will be on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and you can find me at either of those platforms at Hope with Armory. And so, this will occur every Thursday night at 7 o'clock p.m. And so I've told you who I am, an ambassador of hope. And so I will now tell you what I do because I believe that both of those things align perfectly. So, as an ambassador of hope, my goal is to help women who have experienced loss, heartache, or trauma restore their joy as a joy restoration coach. And so I do have a certification as a Christian life coach as well as a joy restoration coach. And one of the things that I don't talk about as often is that I also have a master's degree in counseling. So I am able to provide counseling services for women as well. Which I love. I love being able to provide counseling services. One of the distinct differences between coaching and counseling is with coaching, we deal with the present. Say, for example, you're going through grief or you've experienced a loss. We deal with that specific issue and how we can move you forward. So, coaching encompasses a lot of accountability. It also encompasses someone giving you the tools to restoration and to move you forward and help you to resolve your issue. Counseling, however, first starts with taking a step back. The goal of counseling is to get to the root of your issue. So often counselors may take you back to your childhood or when you can first pinpoint the issue began, and then they deal with that issue from there. So counseling can take a lot longer. Whereas coaching, if you're dealing with where you are now specifically and moving forward, a lot of times that process does not take as long. So I love both of them, and I'm happy to be able to serve in that way. Another distinction I want to make when it comes to Christian life coaching, as a Christian life coach, what that basically means, that is not a niche in and of itself. So Christian coaching is not a niche. What it is, however, is a worldview. So it is everything that I do operates from my belief system, my faith. And so that is what defines a Christian life coach. So whether I am operating as a counselor, whether I'm operating as a joy restoration coach, or as a Christian life coach, I operate from that same worldview, meaning I put my faith at the forefront because I truly believe that we cannot have hope without having a relationship with God. And so I recognize the importance of that. And that is what I aim to help my clients get, is not hope in me as their coach or as their counselor, but ultimately hope in God. And so that is my aim, and that is a difference, because you hear a lot of people claiming to be Christian coaches and they're just putting a scripture on it. But you really have to be careful and see what worldview they are operating from. So I did want to talk to you guys a little bit just about my credentials and why I do what I do. But that is not really the most important thing as far as the credentials that I hold. In fact, people that know me most, and coaches that have spoken into my life as well as counselors, have really said that that's not something that I need as far as getting more credentials, being that I already have a master's degree in counseling. And so that is not necessarily something that I needed, because we know that coaches now in today's society, a lot of people are claiming to be a coach with no certification, but they are simply going by their life's experience or something that they've learned that they are willing to now share with other people. And um, so that is, why I wanted to again talk to you about my credentials, because I do think that that is important. I don't want to just be getting before people and serving people and not having the level of expertise that I need. Ultimately, I want to be able to serve the women who I am called to serve in excellence. And so, but moving on beyond my credentials to the most important thing, I do believe that life is the best teacher. And so I have experienced life. You will find that a lot of people that are in counseling or in coaching have a story that have been birthed out of pain, and now they have a purpose and a responsibility to help other people come out of oftentimes situations that they have been in themselves. And so, just a little bit about myself. And if you want to know more about my story, you can subscribe to my website at www.iamarmory, and you will find an ebook there that goes into great detail about a loss that I experienced back in 2008 when my husband and I lost our baby girl, Reese Madison. And so, I know what it feels like to lose someone that you hold dear. I know what pain feels like. I know what it feels like to be in a place where your dream seems to be on hold. You feel like you have been forgotten about, like you've been abandoned, like your prayers have not been heard. And so life for me really has been the best teacher, and my experiences in life has really been a teacher that I have been able to get some nuggets myself to be able to share with other people and serve the women that I am called to serve. And so I am excited that today is our first segment of Armory. Oh, and I did start my timer. I was going to say, did I forget to do that? So again, I want to be respectful of your time. I will only have this airing for 30 minutes from 7 to 7:30, again every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today I want it to be more so of an introduction. I really am excited, especially with the times that we're in right now, in light of what our entire nation is going through with the coronavirus. Everybody seems to be on the air. People are looking for hope, and so it is just a perfect time to start this segment, Hope with Armory. So the purpose behind this is really just to get together with girlfriends in the comfort of our homes or wherever you may be, and you're able to tune in with me and to give you hope, to give you tools to heal, to give you tools to be able to walk in freedom. It will not only be my voice that you will hear, you will also hear the voice of other people. I do have some guests lined up in future live segments that are going to be again airing every Thursday night. And so I want women that have overcome, whether that's because of a loss or after a loss, I should say, or after being hurt, after experiencing a traumatic experience or heartache, such as a divorce. Um, those are the type of women that I want on to be able to spread hope to women who may be watching. And so if you know that's you and you know you have a story and you are excited about sharing your story, I invite you to please send me a message so that we can connect and hopefully have you a guest on Time for Tea with Armory. So I definitely want that so that again, I am not the only voice that you hear. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight, which I think is very appropriate again for what is going on currently, is some indicators that you should be aware of as ways to know that you have lost hope. And because our days now are filled with such uncertainty, people are panicking, people are experiencing anxiety, people are experiencing depression, people are losing their jobs and their livelihoods, parents are having to homeschool who may not necessarily be as familiar with the process of how to do that. So there's a lot that people are experiencing with this epidemic, this pandemic rather, that we are experiencing now. So I wanted to talk to you about some ways that you know that you are losing hope. And why is this important? It is important to know when we are experiencing hopelessness, because when we are not in hope, when we find ourselves without hope, then we find ourselves without really being able to live life to its fullest potential and be the women that God has created us to be. And so it is very important that we remain in hope. And hope is not contingent upon our circumstances. Hope is an eager expectation that our future is going to be better, that our future is going to be blessed. And so you have to have hope, even in order to start the process of healing, in order to start the process of restoration, of restoring your joy. If you don't have hope, then you really have nothing to live for. And so I want you to be able to recognize some ways that you may have lost hope. I am open to seeing clients. I am definitely taking on new clients. You can connect with me on either Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can send me a message. You can connect with me on my website. Again, that's www.iamarmory.com. So there are several ways where you can connect with me, and I am happy to serve you as best as I can. And so the first thing, and if you see me look off to the side, I do have some notes that I jotted down just so I wouldn't forget any important details. And so the first way to know, and these I should say are not in any particular order of importance, they are just indicators to let you know that you have lost hope. And I have definitely been there in that situation myself. And so I know some of these firsthand. The first thing, or the first indicator, is that you expect bad news. You expect, whether that is when you go to a doctor's appointment, whether that is when your phone rings and you are not familiar with the number, whether that is if someone calls who you haven't heard from in a long time. Even currently with what we're experiencing, even that may mean continuing to seek out the news, or it may even possibly mean that you think that you have been diagnosed with the coronavirus and those thoughts are starting in your mind, and you have not necessarily put yourself in a place that that could be true. And so one of those ways, again, is when we expect bad news to happen. We expect that everything that we are experiencing, that nothing is going to be good, nothing is going to go in our favor. And we become complacent, we become comfortable with bad news, and we begin to think that that is our norm. Also, another part of this is you have no good to look forward to. You feel like, there's nothing different that's going to change. Nothing about your life is going to elevate. Nothing good to look forward to. So that is one sign that you have lost hope. If you are constantly seeking after bad news or expecting bad news, that is a good indicator that you've lost hope. The second thing that I want to talk about is that you find it difficult to celebrate other people. Now, sometimes this can be situational. This can be situational. I have experienced myself as a mother who have lost a child. I've experienced situations where I found it very difficult to celebrate other people. For example, attending baby showers or being genuinely happy for a mother that was expecting. Those types of things may be situational. However, that should not be something that we hold on to long term. We should be able to move forward at some point and be able to return to some sense of normalcy. Now, does this mean that you will always feel like genuinely being happy for someone when you've experienced that type of loss? Not necessarily, but it is a goal that you can work towards. There may be some bad days where you're just like, I'm not up to it. I can't do it today, and that's okay. But that does not have to be your story for every baby shower going forward, or every time you hear a pregnancy announcement, or every time you hear someone is getting married, if you've experienced divorce. You want to be able to move to a place where you can genuinely celebrate other people. The third thing that I want to talk about is loss of motivation. And so, what this basically means is fatalism. So, fatalism means, why try if I'm going to fail? Why try if nothing good is going to come as a result of me trying if I know that I'm going to fail? So we know, and we grew up as kids saying, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And the moment you stop thinking that way, then you've already failed. If you start thinking and seeing yourself as a failure, or seeing why even put forth the effort to try, then you've already failed. And that is a indicator, again, to know that you have lost hope. And so I see some people watching. If you love to comment, I would love to see who's here with me. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, please share this out to other people who you know may be interested to tune in as well. So I think we are on number 4. The fourth thing is, you become weary of living right. You just are tired of doing the right thing. And this can be very applicable when we're talking about our faith. We're tired of living for God. We feel like what we're doing does not matter. We feel like we don't see any change in our life. We feel like our prayers are not being heard. We are just simply tired of living right. And that is an indicator, again, that we are losing hope. Another way that this may manifest itself is that you become upset with God. You no longer have the desire to pray. You no longer have the desire to read your word. You no longer have the desire to even fellowship with other Christians. And so this, again, is an indicator that you have lost hope. And another indicator, and I think I'm on number 5, but again, these are not in any particular order. These are just some indicators that I think you should be aware of. So, hi Gretchen, thank you for tuning in. I'm glad that you're here. And another indicator is that you become overly emotional. And so, remember, I talked about the anxiety that a lot of people are experiencing because of what our nation is going through right now. Some people are anxious about losing their jobs, or even anxious about being in the home too much with their family, with their children, with their spouse. And so sometimes we allow our emotions to lead instead of what we know to be true. And so when we become overly emotional and we are led by those emotions, then those things can manifest themselves as panic attacks, depression, anxiety, all sorts of things. And so, again, this is an indicator that we are losing hope. And I've kind of mentioned this one already, but another indicator is that you simply are losing your faith. You don't see a reason to continue in faith. In fact, you wonder if it's the pastures are greener on the other side. You wonder if this, what you're doing, living for Christ, is even worth it. And so, this again is an indicator to know that you have lost hope. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is losing your identity. And this is a big one. A lot of times when women are asked, who are you? We may identify ourselves as a wife. We may identify ourselves as a mother. We may identify ourselves as a grandparent, a friend, a daughter. And although those things may be true, that may not necessarily be our identity. Now, for some of us, that is very much who we are. We feel called to be a wife, we feel called to be a stay at home mother, and that is purposeful and that is our identity. But for some of us, those things may describe some things that we do. However, they are not necessarily who we are. And so you lose your identity when you lose whose you are. And so a part of that, losing your identity, is also losing your purpose. And so these are some of the ways that you know that you are losing hope. And hope is such a tangible thing that we all need. We all need to have expectation that even if we're going through a rough time right now, even if we've experienced loss, even if we've experienced heartache, if we've experienced trauma, we have to trust that things are going to get better, that we can expect things to get better, that we can expect to overcome what we are currently experiencing. And so, in light of the pandemic that is going on right now, it is important that we hold on to hope. It is important that we remain in hope. And it's very important that we cling to our trust in God because things are uncertain. No one knows, when this will end. There is talk about hoping this will end in time for Easter Sunday, which would be a beautiful thing. But no one knows that as of now. And so there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of panic as to what things are going to look like in the days to come. And so I just want to encourage you to hold on to hope. Now, I do want to just turn the corner just for a brief minute and talk a little bit about even joy restoration and what that looks like. And so, again, hope and joy go hand in hand. And joy is not contingent upon what you're going through, it is an internal thing that you feel in spite of what you may be experiencing. And so, it is important that we are able to restore our joy. And a lot of times we don't even realize that we're no longer in joy, that we are becoming hopeless, that we need healing, that we are no longer living in freedom. And what does that look like? That looks like living the life that God created you to live and living it in abundance. And so it becomes very important that we are clinging to our hope, that we are doing what is necessary to restore our joy. So you may be watching this, and I hope you're tuning in, and I'm just going to take a quick sip of tea here. Oh, that's good. And so you may be watching this and thinking, I don't know where to begin. I feel like some days I have hope, I feel like I'm joyful, but then there's something that comes along that makes me feel like I'm hopeless, or makes me feel like I no longer have joy, or just, that has just hit me. And there are some things that we experience. I can recall when we experienced the loss of my daughter, Ruth Madison. That was such a gut wrenching thing that it was hard for me to even wrap my mind around what was happening. And so it was a gut wrenching. And let me turn the volume up here. I hope you guys can hear me okay. But it was such a gut wrenching experience that I truly did not want to face the world as I knew it. I did not know my purpose. I wanted to be a mother. I did not know what that now looks like now that my child is no longer here with me. And so that was a battle not only in my mind, but also in my relationship with God. I really had to come to grips with what is my new normal. And so a part of hope in restoring our joy is acknowledging our pain, acknowledging that what we experience hurts. And that is the first step to being able to say, okay, this hurts, this happened, now I can heal. And that is what the type of work that I love to do, that I truly believe that I'm called to serve women in. You recognize that you have a pain, a hurt, a trauma, a heartache, a loss, and you realize that it happened. Thank you so much, Alicia. I hope everything's well with you. You have definitely been in my prayers, girlfriend. So, and thank you for telling me that the volume is good. I just wanted to make sure that everything is good. But that is such a, and I kind of lost my train of thought there, is what I was talking about. But it will come back to me. But I think what I was saying is that it is just important to recognize, thank you, Holy Spirit, I remember now. It is important that you acknowledge when you have pain, when you are hurting. Acknowledgement is the first sign or the first step towards healing. And once you acknowledge that it happened, then you can move forward in healing. And so, again, I am open. I want to serve. One of the other reasons, again, for me starting Time for Tea with Armory is not only to inspire hope and to provide tools, but also to connect with women and to hear your stories, and to hear your stories of triumph and overcoming, and to be able to give you an outlet to be able to share your story so that other women listening in will be encouraged. And so there is so many stories that we go through as women, and a lot of times we bury those stories with us, and we don't share them, and we isolate ourselves. But this is a time where people are able to receive, because people are looking for hope. People are looking for an answer, a solution to their problem. And so I am honored to be able to serve women and be a solution to a problem that they may be facing. And I also know that there are some things that I do not, that is just not my lane, that there are some things that I do not deal with, and those are not the clients that I've been assigned to. But again, if you are there and you are experiencing any loss, and this could be divorce, this could be loss of a parent, a child, this could be a health concern. Loss of your health is a valid concern. I have experienced that myself. And so there are a lot of times when we think of loss, we typically just think of death. And that is one way to experience loss for sure, but there are so many other facets to loss. And so you may also have experienced a heartache. Maybe you've experienced divorce, or you've experienced trauma such as molestation or rape or something along those lines. One thing that is for sure, the way we experience pain may be different, but our pain has a way of connecting us. And I love connecting with women who have experienced pain. I love being there to serve them and to help them move forward and again restore their joy and find peace and find a way to move forward and live in spite of their loss. There is life in spite of what you may have experienced. There is life that you still have and that you can experience in abundance. And so I see that my time is winding down. I just have a little bit over a minute left. I hope that this was helpful. Let me read some of the comments here. Yes, Gretchen, definitely. When I lost my child, I definitely had to turn to the Lord. But I will be honest and say there was a time period when it first occurred that I did not want to talk to anybody. I was not returning phone calls. I was not returning text messages. I didn't want any visitors. I really was kind of in my feelings, so to speak. And over time, the Lord just had to show me how much He loves me, because we can connect sometimes what happens to us and we can equate that to our love or God's love for us. And we can feel like He has abandoned us or He has forgotten us when we go through things. And the truth is, what we go through is never a surprise to Him. And so that in itself, once I learned that and really got a revelation of His love for me, that really helps me to open the door of my heart and really, hi Anna, I'm glad you're here, but it really helps me to open the door of my heart and really just be open and find restoration for myself. I love you too, Anna P. I'm glad you're here. So I think I am just about out of time, but I want you, for those of you who are watching now, you feel free to share this. You may also subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find it at Hope with Armory. You may also share the replay. This will be posted soon to my Facebook page. On IG, unfortunately, the lives there only last for 24 hours, but you can catch it there in the next 24 hours. So I will see you guys next Thursday. I will be giving you more of a lineup as when I'll have guests coming on. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys are enjoying your tea time, because this is time for tea with Armory. So thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next Thursday. Have a blessed evening, ladies. Bye-bye.